Get your fucking hands up. Get on out of your seats. All eyes on me. All eyes on me. Get your fucking hands up. Get on out of your seat. All eyes on me. All eyes on me. I figured it'd be a fun little way to start the podcast. Little bit of echo. All right, let's go back to normal randos.
Welcome into the Fandom at Random podcast. I hope you enjoyed my attempt at a Bo Burnham intro, because we are going to talk about Bo Burnham today. My God, the Inside Special, that kicked all sorts of ass. And today I'm not alone. I got the Batman sitting over there. He's the strong silent type, though. He may not be talking too much during this podcast. How you doing, Batman? Swear to me. Okay, cool. So Brian couldn't make it today. He's a little bit under the weather. Hope you're feeling better soon, buddy. But I got this shit on lock. We've got the news at random. We've got the Bo Burnham Inside Special. We're going to be breaking that down with a random ranking of every song. And, I mean, we're going to get right into it. There's so much to talk about. Let's get into the news. News at random. And we get to kick things off here with a fandom fatality of the week.
Finish him.
So, John McAfee, and again, if you're wondering how this pertains to fandom, computers, they're a big fandom, and this guy was one of the pioneers when it came to antivirus software. Again, a lot of people familiar with McAfee antivirus, and he is dead. He is dead. He was kind of a quirky dude. He was into some crazy shit. He was wanted by the United States, many other governments, I guess for tax evasion, fraud, bunch of different shit. But he is dead at the age of 75. He was actually in Barcelona, trying to be extradited to the U.S. so they could try to nab him and try him for his crimes. But he ended up committing suicide, which is kind of ironic. You would think he would have died from a virus, but I don't know. Rest in peace, John McAfee. Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones. He has hurt himself on the set of Indiana Jones 5. This was reported by Deadline first, and I guess he hurt his shoulder. I don't know how bad it is, but I mean, dude, he's an old man at this point. I mean, he's always going to be Indiana Jones. He's always going to be a badass. I mean, the guy was Han Solo, but at his age, doing stunts and shit, I mean, it's only a matter of time before this shit happens, but they're claiming that they're going to be able to move forward and do the rest of the film and until he gets better, hopefully. I just hope that this film is even... Okay, this film needs to be a lot better than Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, if I'm being honest, but yeah, I'm holding out hope. Cautious optimism. Stephen Amell news. This was, I guess it's quasi-news, but I don't know, man. I think this guy might be falling apart. Brian and I talked about this a little bit. We were big fans of the original Arrow, the CW Arrowverse when it first aired, and especially the first 3 seasons or so of Arrow was great. And he ended up leaving that show. He's been working on a new wrestling show called Heels, but he ended up getting removed from a flight due to an altercation with his wife. And it's kind of interesting because he's a very public figure. He's always on social media. And for the most part, he's done a lot of really good things. He always comes off as a really squeaky clean, good dude. And apparently he was like shit-faced getting on this flight and got in a huge argument yelling at his wife. And he wasn't removed from the flight. They asked him to leave, and he removed himself, so they didn't have to have security or whatever come get him. But he already came out and apologized, but whatever. Maybe it was just a slow news week, but I don't know, man. Stephen Amell seems like he's kind of going off the rails a little bit. Hopefully not. I like him. He's a good dude. Let's talk about Conan O'Brien. This was Conan O'Brien's last week with his late night show, which I've been a huge fan of Conan O'Brien for a long time. I think he's hilarious. He's done so many just creative and funny things throughout his career. And this last week, Like, what a send-off. I mean, he had so many awesome celebrity guests on. One of my favorites was Paul Rudd. He ended up crashing an interview with Bill Hader. And, of course, you had to get the Mac and Me back in there. Every single time Paul Rudd, it's been like 2 decades, he always finds a way to get that scene from Mac and Me with the kid with the wheelchair just falling off, and then Mac just, it's incredible. If you haven't seen it, check it out. And Conan went on and smoked weed live on air with Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen brought a joint on, and Conan's like, yeah, screw it, spark it up. He's like, what do I got to lose? It's my last week. So pretty crazy. Conan, you will be missed. I'm sure he'll still be around. He'll be doing other shit. This news this news definitely sucks. So Blink-182 bassist Mark Hoppus, he hopped on social media this past Wednesday. He's undergoing chemotherapy. He has cancer, which sucks. He said he pretty much summed it up that way. It sucks. He said he's scared, but he said by all accounts that the doctors are very optimistic that with chemo and treatment that he's going to make a full recovery, and he's going to hop back on tour when he's cancer-free. So, I mean, that band, man, you had Travis Barker in the horrific plane crash that pretty much killed almost everybody except him. You've got now Mark Hoppus, who, cancer, which sucks. Tom DeLonge was apparently abducted by aliens, and now he's hunting for him. So, crazy shit's happened to that band, but yeah, I hope he gets through that. That's not good news. Speaking of odd news, randos, have you seen the Sexy Beasts trailer coming to Netflix? My God, if you haven't seen it, hop on YouTube, type in Sexy Beasts coming to Netflix. Dude, I don't even know what to make of this show, but I'm probably going to watch it. It's a live blind dating show, but the people get all done up in these like extravagant costumes. Like, I'm sorry, like if you're a furry, you're going to be into this shit. And I don't know, maybe it'll awaken something in me. I don't know, but I mean, it looks crazy enough that I'm going to check it out. I mean, there's a shit ton of reality TV out there, but this looks pretty cool. And last bit of news, kind of Marvel news. So Shang-Chi trailer, a new one has dropped, and Abomination is in the trailer. So Abomination from the Incredible Hulk, from the Edward Norton Hulk film. So he is back in this film. He looks like he's in a ring or something like that. So I don't know if it's like people like fighting him or what's going on, but it's interesting. It's interesting that they would bring back a villain like that. And I'm curious to see, I mean, Hulk is such a great property. I think Mark Ruffalo's done a good job with it. I think they did Hulk dirty in Endgame, when they made him Professor Hulk. And I understand he was more of a comedic character at that point, but I want badass, just unstoppable, incredible Hulk to come back. I hope he does. But that about covers the news at random, and we're going to get right into our fandom focus today, which I am very, very excited about. So, today we are covering Bo Burnham's special, Inside. Mainly, I'm going to be doing, and by me, I mean Brian and myself, we already worked together on this. We did a random ranking of every song in this special from worst to first. And I say worst very loosely because this shit was a goddamn masterpiece. If you haven't already seen this, and this isn't even spoilers, this is all subjective. Every song in this film is so goddamn good. I think it's a work of art itself, and I've had quite a few friends that I've been messaging dude, you got to check this special out. Again, it's on Netflix, and if you're not familiar with Bo Burnham, he's a now 30-year-old, I think he might be maybe 31 now, comedian, and he was one of the original YouTube internet stars. So you can go back all the way back to when he was 16 years old and YouTube was in its infancy. He was one of the big stars that blew up, and he's mainly known for musical comedy and mainly on the piano, and he'll tie that into very funny songs, usually a lot of dark humor as well, which this special, man, this got into some dark humor. But he's had multiple other specials, so if you ever want to like look into his career before you get into Inside, you can go back. He's got Words, 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 What, Make Happy, which was one of my favorites, and then it all culminated with Bo Burnham's Inside. And Bo Burnham's Inside, it is, I'm very loosely going to call it a comedy special. It's more watching Bo. So Bo, at age 25, he quit. He up and left doing stand-up comedy because he was having severe panic attacks and depression. And he was like just MIA. He was gone for 5 years. He was still dabbling in other things, mainly directing, which he's also very good at. I think he actually potentially got nominated for a SAG award for his first feature film. I think called Promising Young Woman. But, I mean, Bo Burnham's Inside, it is just pretty much him quarantining away during COVID, and he was all ready to come back to the spotlight, and then the world shut down. And he was doing so much better. Mentally, he was doing so much better to the point that he wanted to go and perform again. And then he had to pretty much lock himself inside, quarantine away for the better part of a year. And anybody out there with, mental issues, whether it's depression, whether it's anxiety, a lot of times you're your own worst enemy. And you can see it throughout the special. And I understand that he's filming this. Some of it is probably hammed up. But you can tell throughout a lot of it, like his mental well-being just starts really going and just starts really going downhill as he records this. And the writing of it changes as well. And to that point, when I was doing my ranking at least, I much prefer the songs that come in the second half of the special after the intermission, because at that point, like the first half is much more front-loaded with comedy. Not that there are still comedic aspects to the second part of the film, but it gets a lot darker, a lot more real, and you can kind of see what he's going through, and that's coming through in the songwriting. And at that point, it's more just good music. I mean, it's all catchy, but the first half is more like funny catchy, and the second half is just like, goddamn, like, these are just really well-written songs. So I'm going to go ahead, and I do want to throw out a quick disclaimer. So there are technically 20 songs in the special, but there are 2 songs that, and you're going to know when I get to them, they're very similar. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to mash them together in my rankings. Brian agreed we should do that. So it's going to be 19 all the way down to number 1. And again, this is highly subjective because it's not only were we doing this ranking on the music itself, but the visual aspect of this film is unbelievable. What Bo was able to do on his own with all of the camera work, the editing, everything is just, it's unbelievable. And again, please, if you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor, hop on Netflix, watch this special. Let's kick things off at number 19. It's going to be Any Day Now, which this is the ending song, which it just repeats, it'll be any day now, any day now. And he brings back that kind of sock puppet voice that he uses on another song I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But it just repeats, and it's a good outro song. That's pretty much all it is. It is what it is. Number 18 is All Time Low, which this entire thing is, it is smack dab in the middle of him doing like a depressing monologue, talking about his mental health. And I think a lot of this is, I do honestly believe like his mental health, you can see it is going, it is not good. It is not good in the second half of this film. And I think in post, he went back and thought it would be funny if he kind of interjected this super upbeat, just 4-bar, quick little thing that it did not fit the tone at all, because he's all just, my mental health, yada, yada, and then, feeling in my body, way down deep inside me. And it's quick. It's quick and it's funny. And, for that reason, it's only 4 bars. So I couldn't rank it much higher than that. Number 17, Unpaid Intern. So, again, it's a... It's got a good swing to it, and it's all about, kind of bringing to the forefront unpaid interns and how a lot of companies out there completely fuck them over. And I like the song a lot, but it was what came after the song that was just gold, where he goes and he actually starts, he's like, all right, I'm going to do what's the word I'm looking for? A reaction video. I'm going to do a reaction video to this song, and then it just layers and layers into him reacting to himself, reacting to the song, and it's just, it was really clever, very well edited. I still don't even know how the hell he did it, but yeah, I mean, it's a cool song, but not one of my favorites. Now I'm going to take a sip of water. Oh yeah, that hit the spot. So, number 16, sexting. So, another pandemic theme where everybody was stuck inside. Nobody could meet up to bang. So, let's write a song about it. So, sexting, which isn't sex, but it's the next best thing. And this was good. I mean, it had, again, the visual added to this. Very hilarious of him trying to be like over the top and sexual and yada yada. And I like the play on with the emojis and, you send me a peach, I send a carrot back. You send me a Ferris wheel. It's like, it's fun. It's fun. I did enjoy it, but again, not one of my favorites. Number 15, Problematic. And Wayne, if you're listening, I know you're a big Bo Burnham fan. You actually kind of turned me on to this guy, and thank you for that. And this was one that you were problematic with me on, with my ranking, because you really liked this song. And it's a whole play on cancel culture. And I think it was clever how it was done, saying how he's problematic. And I think it also tied back into, like, he brings up, like, when he was, 13, he wore, like, the Aladdin costume. And it was probably in bad taste or weird in hindsight. And I think he was tying into, like, cancel culture a lot and how, like, a lot of people are digging into people's pasts and digging up all these old things that they did, try to cancel them. But to me, like, Bo, I don't think he really gives an F. So hard to cancel somebody that feels that way. But the song, whatever. It's catchy. I do like the chorus. It was pretty good. Number 14, FaceTime with My Mom Tonight. Which, if you've seen this special, and especially if you've seen this special more than once, you may notice a theme here with how I'm going in my rankings. A lot of this is front-loaded with the more comedic songs that were in the beginning of the special. Not that they're bad. Again, they're not bad. Very funny, especially with the visuals. But I personally, and I think Brian agrees with me, after the intermission is when the real, I think, songwriting came to the forefront. But again, very funny theme song. Again, when people were stuck inside, what were we doing? We were FaceTiming, we were Zooming with everybody, not the least of which our moms and our parents. And he really kind of makes fun of that, touches on that, and I enjoyed it. Number 13, Don't Wanna Know. Another relatively short song, but I liked it a lot. And to me, this whole song was, how are you feeling? Do you enjoy the show? I get tired of it. Never mind, I don't want to know. So I think it's kind of harping on his struggle, and especially with anxiety and performance anxiety to the crowd. Like, he wants to entertain everyone, and he wants to know that you're having a good time and that you're engaged. But at the same time, he doesn't want to know because he can't handle you not being engaged and not enjoying it. That's at least how I took this song, and I did enjoy this one. Number 12. Number 12. I should have had a sock or something to do a sock puppet here, but How the World Works, which, this is definitely got Sesame Street vibes off of this one, and the fucking harmonizing with the sock puppet was just genius. One of my favorite parts. No, please, I don't want to go back, please. And it very, very, very funny, very lighthearted take with Bo, how he starts it out with the world being pretty complicated and It does. It plays like a Sesame Street song. And then you have the sock puppet come in who he gets shit real really quickly. And I love just the back and forth and Bo like just kind of, hey, whose hands on who? All right, and it's good. I really enjoyed it. This was a song to me that was much more enhanced with actually watching it and seeing the sock puppet come into play. Number 11. How we feeling out there tonight? I'm feeling like shit. So shit, this was just another, this was funny and it was catchy all at the same time. And I enjoyed it. Again, you can see that he's been stuck in quarantining, trying to write this stuff, and he frankly does. He looks like shit. And you can tell like his clothes look dingy, his hair's everywhere, his beard is a mess. Brings up, not waking up till 11:30, which especially a lot of people that have struggled with depression, like even just getting out of bed sometimes is a chore. Never mind trying to get out and actually work on this stuff. And, your hygiene can go the way of shit. So I think this was cool. I think this was another relatable song to a lot of people, especially people that were stuck in quarantine. Number 10. So we're in our top 10 now. If I could have ranked these higher, I really wanted to, but I can understand why other people didn't have ranked so high. But Bezos 1 and Bezos 2. Dude, Jeffrey Bezos. So mainly Bezos 1. Bezos 2 was funny. Bezos 1 is goddamn genius. The CEO, entrepreneur. So, and it kills me, dude. Every time that, come on, Jeff, get him. Just the whole look at Jeffrey Bezos and how everything that's wrong with Amazon. And dude, this song slaps. It really does. When that keyboard solo comes in, oh man, like so many times, even with my coworkers, we'll just be walking around, you just hear way out back, Jeffrey Bezos. Catchy as shit. And short, but still great. Number 9, content. And again, a song talking about Bo, talking about his depression, and feeling obligated to get back at it and work through the depression, work through the anxiety to bring us content. And Bo, if you're listening, you did it. You brought us some great content with the special. And it's an okay song. I liked it. It deserves to be in the top 10. But now we're starting to get into some like the heavy hitters, the good ones here. So comedy. I loved this song, and I especially love how it starts out so slow with Bo just kind of building it up, and then the whole thing like with God like talking to him like, we need your comedy to heal the world, and it's kind of him playing on being like a woke, famous, straight white guy that's rich. And honestly, a lot of these celebrities, like, no one gives a shit what your opinion is, so just shut the fuck up. And I think that's what he was kind of playing on. So it's catchy as shit, though. I really did like that song. Number 7, White Woman's Instagram. This was the song that probably made me laugh the most throughout the whole thing, because it's an extremely well-written song. It's catchy as shit, and I love the premise. I mean, at first, you kind of don't know what's going on. You just see him, like, very scantily clad, like, pulling avocados out and just, like, dancing around in a very feminine way and all the feminine poses, but it's just fake. It's making fun of everything you see, usually white women, posting on their Instagrams, and it's genius. He nailed it. He absolutely nailed it. The song is catchy as shit. The chorus is catchy. This is one of those ones that just gets stuck in your head. Number 6. And this to me personally is where my tear break kind of happened. Now we're into the songs that I think are just genius. Absolute from a fellow musician standpoint, and the writing, everything in these, it's just genius from here on out. So this is number 6, which is actually it's 30. So it's all about him turning 30, and it's just fantastic. The way he goes into it in the video, like with the countdown on the clock. And if you've seen this special, you're a goddamn liar if you haven't been walking around with, all my stupid friends are having stupid children. And it's relatable. I'm sure for a lot of people, especially, people around my age, like the millennial kind of time bracket, and a lot of people going into their 30s with friends having kids and feeling alienated, and the kind of the best of your life is over. And especially the millennial generation, I feel like we're really just big kids. Like, we still haven't really grown up into adults. Like, I've got a house, I've got a kid, I'm married. I still feel like a kid. I don't feel like an adult yet. And I don't know. I think that's kind of synonymous with at least our generation. And that so good. Chorus is great. Number 5, Look Who's Inside Again. And this is another song that it's not super long. And I love the rawness of how he recorded this, with it's just him sitting on the floor during the day, his keyboard in front of him, and just playing that kind of waltz beat. Can one be funny when stuck in a room? Much more to say about it. And it's so catchy, and it's sad. You can just kind of feel the sadness in it. And just kind of talk about being a kid who was stuck in his room, and, what could he do to get out of it, try making faces, yada, yada. And I think it's great, and I think it all culminates, like, in the chorus at the very end, and you only get the chorus once. And just that note, well, look who's inside again, bum, bum, bum. And then, now come out with your hands up, we've got you surrounded. And it just feels like a kind of like delving in and kind of like being stuck in your own mind and your own thoughts, and like there's no escape. And that one really spoke to me. I know a couple other people that I kind of asked them to like do their own kind of rankings, and this one didn't rank quite as high for a lot of people, but I think it deserves to be in the top 5. Number 4. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Bo can play the guitar, even though he says he can't. That Funny Feeling. Another great song. I love how this was shot with, it's almost like he's by a campfire. And it's really just all buzzwords. It's all internet buzzwords with some dark shit kind of thrown in there. And, there it is again, that funny feeling. And I think I really, like, introspectively looking at this and how he hides certain things in there. One of my favorite lines, a gift shop at the gun range, a mass shooting at the mall. It's just, it goes on. And I really do love this song a lot. And I appreciated that it was a very different kind of feeling when this song hit during the special. Just seeing him, going away from the more like synth heavy stuff and just grabbing a guitar and just writing a great song. So now the polar opposite of that, number 3, Welcome to the Internet. Have a look around. I know a lot of people are going to be pissed this is at 3 and not at number 1, but I've got 2 songs that are above this that I could not get them out. As much as I love this song, and this song is genius, and I think this Welcome to the Internet song is going to be the song that people define the special with. I mean, there's no coincidence that if you hop on YouTube, it's one of the most watched videos, one of the most listened to, and it's just insane. It's insane. He's pretty much a Disney villain, and just talking about how the internet has poisoned all of us, how we're all obsessed with just constantly being hooked up, the constant content that we need, that we have to have it. And it came quickly. It really did. Like, he talks about the early stages of the internet and how it was such a great thing. And now it's like, what have we done? You look at the youth, you look at everything else, and it's like you get a little bit of everything all of the time. And there's no escaping it anymore. You cannot unplug. Nobody can. and we're all living in just a digital realm at this point. And I think it's just an amazing song, especially when it picks up in pace and tempo, and he's just spitting lyrics off so quickly, and it fits so goddamn well. So goddamn well. Number 2, the song that I kicked this podcast off with, All Eyes on Me. And this song to me was such like an earworm, in a sense that when I first listened to it, like, I liked it. I didn't love it. And then I watched the special a couple more times. I hopped on Spotify and I just was listening to the songs, and my God, it's just so goddamn catchy. Get your fucking hands up, get on out of your seats. And it's just so goddamn good. And this is another one that's so different in the special. Like, this is so well aided by the visuals in the song if you're watching it. Again, if you're listening right now and you're just planning on hopping on Spotify, don't do it. You're only getting like 30% of the effect, maybe even less. You need to see the visuals with a lot of this, so watch the special. But you get the inner monologue in the beginning where he admits to quitting because of having panic attacks and how he was working his way back, and he was ready to go out and tour again, to come back to the world, all during January of 2020, which obviously led right into the COVID-19 pandemic. He gets stuck inside, which turned into this, silver lining. We got this amazing special with all this amazing content. Thank you, Bo. But I love this. I love, and it's so unlike if you've seen Bo Burnham's like earlier shit. A lot of it, you never really see him like lose his cool. And to see him just run up, grab the mic, get up, get the fuck up, and just shooting all around with the microphone, and it's awesome. I think it's a powerful song. Which brings us to number 1. And I think it's fitting that we'll end on this one because the name of the song is Goodbye. And it's so goddamn good. I love how it was so smart of him to kind of edit it this way, where you see him really when the special's just beginning, his hair is still relatively short, he doesn't have the beard yet, and he says, possible ending song that's not finished, and just the slow piano, and just the beautiful lyrics, the beautiful singing. Like, I know some people, they say, Bo, his voice is very nasally, it's not really, I love his voice, I think it's awesome, but it's just so, this is one of those songs, like, I listen to it, and I just get, like, chills, because it's so goddamn good. Just from a music standpoint. Never even mind, like, lyrically. It's also deep as hell. And one of my favorite things about this song that he ends the special with, he ties in not all of them, but many of the hooks from the earlier great songs. Welcome to the Internet, That Funny Feeling, and so many of them. Look Who's Inside Again. And he ties them back into this song. And it was just such a clever, smart way to kind of bring those back into the forefront at the very beginning of the special. But I loved it. My wife and I have been on a complete Bo Burnham kick now for the past month, going and checking out his earlier content. Another funny one, he actually had an MTV show called Zach Stone Is Gonna Be Famous, which you can hop on Amazon. It's only like $10. It's one season. Pretty goddamn funny, though. And you can see, even when this kid, and he was a kid then, he was maybe 20 years old, if anything, he's a talented mofo. And I don't know if he'll ever be able to top this special, but he keeps progressing as a writer, as a director, as a musician, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see where his journey is going to take us. And my whole thing is, I just hope mentally he can get right. And I'd love to see him. So, Brian, dude, if you're listening, man, we're getting tickets for sure if he comes around here. That's about it. I've talked way too much, as usual. But randos, I appreciate you listening. Again, if you haven't seen Bo Burnham's Inside, do yourself a favor. Go check that shit out. It is good. But we'll be back next week. Brian, get well, my friend. I'm sure you'll be back soon. And we appreciate you listening. Later, randos. Adios.